Eddie. Some of us heard Alice's classification talk when she joined the club. A lot of you have never met her before, never seen her. So I'm going to give you the full introduction tonight. As Alice says, she was born many years ago in Accra, Ghana. She went to high school there, and then she was awarded a scholarship to come to Canada to study modern languages at Carleton. She went on to the University of Western Ontario to get her education diploma. She was hired by the Ottawa Carleton School Board to teach French immersion courses. Then she went back to school. She received a master's education degree in curriculum planning. This is what she really likes doing. She's taught primary, junior, and intermediate classes, that's grades 1 to 12, and that's given her a broader perspective about teaching. After all of her teaching years, in 2001, she retired after 30 years. During her career, she used to go to Toronto in the summer to work. While she was there, she met a university engineering student. After graduation, he moved to Ottawa, and Alice and he were married. They have a daughter who now lives in Etobicoke, and she's a business team leader with Campbell's. Lawrence retired 4 years ago, maybe it's 5 from what I'm reading, but it's about 4, soon after he had open heart surgery. They've now moved to Etobicoke, so they're closer to their daughter and grandchildren. Alice had always said that she wanted to do charity work. Her mother was a Seventh-day Adventist, whose philosophy was that you were put on this earth to serve. However, Alice didn't know how to go about it until she met a new vice principal at the school she was teaching at. This woman shared Alice's interest in curriculum planning, and they became friends. She told her about wanting to do charity work. Her friend invited her to come to a Rotary Club meeting. Here. Not here, but at this club. Alice said she had never heard of Rotary at that time. However, when she walked into the place, she knew that this is where she belonged. There were members in the club that were involved in all sorts of projects in South and Central America and in Africa. One member who was involved in shipping books to Africa became her mentor. In her club's district, in 7040, the district's World Committee met 4 times a year, where the club shared information on the international projects they were involved in. Alice attended these meetings and found that there were 3 clubs in the district with projects in Ghana. The chair of her club's committee had been to northern Ghana. And then she went on and talked about her own, she's told us all about Ghana, about the climate there and things. I just thought that you should hear what we knew about Alice, and I got it all from the bulletin of the Rotary Club of Etobicoke.
That's what I thought. That's where I'm reading it from.
It's a very nice bulletin. It's very fancy, and there's lots more information about Alice and about what they do. And I thought I could pass this around and people could see
And
it.
the principal that I met was Sylvia.
It's Sylvia, yes. So I assume you're going to speak about Comfort Stars.
Yeah.
Welcome,
How
Alice.
did you get that?
She has a way.
Google it. I was wondering because
Anybody can
I
Google.
never spoke here, and she got it. Wow. Can you hear me? Because I have a pen here. I mean, yeah, this one. Then let me just stand there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear it. Can you hear me?
You gotta use my.
But I've got a pin on. Is it okay?
It's not on.
It's not on, no.
So I should speak from here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this one working?
Yes.
Okay, so can I take this thing off here?
Under pressure.
Is there something in my pocket? Okay, it's good to be back. Thank you for welcoming me to this club once more, And this time, since 2011, we've got 14 graduates from tertiary institutions from senior high schools and from vocational schools. And you know, all this is made possible because of this club. This club heard about the dream, and they helped me to do it, to achieve a lot of these things that are happening. So what I'm going to talk to you about is mainly the students who have graduated. We now have 24 students. 14 have graduated. There are 24 left on the list, and I want to talk to you about these students. And all these things happened because of a lot of people from this club. And I'm going to, usually when I talk about these students, I don't mention the names of club members or people who decided to sponsor some kids. Some people gave money each year, and they didn't want to sponsor any specific student, but there are people here who used to be in this club. There are still some here who continue to sponsor kids. They took kids from grade 2, grade 3, and they've taken them to university level, high school, senior high school, etc. So I would like to talk about our students and mention the names of people who are in this club, people who are no longer here, and what they've done, and what the club itself has done to help this project to reach where it is right now. This is a literacy program. I'm a teacher, you know, so I got to Ghana and I decided this club has been formed by my sister. It's a long story, but I decided we need to help these kids. They couldn't read. They didn't know how to read, and they were going to school. And we decided to help them, and those who became committed to the literacy program got scholarship. We found people here to sponsor them, and it's amazing. These are inner city school children. These are poor kids who, and they're single parent families, dysfunctional. You might see 8 kids in a family, but they are 5 different fathers, you know, that type of thing. So these kids, and if you look at them from where they were and where they are now, anyway, okay. So one thing too is boys and girls. Which boys did we take and which girl, how many girls did we take? So our first graduates, we have 14 who graduated, 9 are boys, okay? And Lillian can tell you about it. You can see, if you have to choose between sending a boy or a girl to school, you send a boy, not the girls. So the students whom we decided to sponsor, and you ought to be going to school before we select you, they are mainly boys. But wait till you see what the girls are doing. You'll be shocked. Anyway, you'll be surprised. Our first student is a student called John Ofoli, and he was sponsored by Human Craft. Is he still in the club?
Yes.
Okay.
He's actually in a club in Glasgow, Scotland.
Okay.
Dunedin, Scotland, but he comes here half a year.
Oh, okay.
So,
He sponsored
back and
him.
forth.
And he got a diploma in marketing. He went to a polytechnic. And you know, all these kids are empowered now. They are not stopping. He went to a polytechnic, which is the equivalent of a community college here. He's working, he got a job, he's a manager now. And he decided he wanted to continue, so we helped him out. And he's working, and he came to me and he said, can you help me out to get, he's doing a BA in business administration, and he's doing it online. That's one. The next boy is called Michael. He did graphic arts. But he was, you see, when I'm not there, I do this thing with my sister, and I'm the teacher, the educator. So when I'm there, I'm putting kids in the right places. I wasn't there. He's finished, and she put him in a high school. And he was miserable. He wasn't doing well. So I got there, looked at his marks, and I said, you don't belong here. You need to go to a vocational school. He didn't want to do it at first because he felt like he was being demoted. And I said, no, if we are going to sponsor you, you're going to a vocational school. That's it. I took him there. He registered. This kid used to walk around with his shoulders, drooping shoulders. Within 2 weeks, he was like this. He came to the house, he was speaking English to me. He was happy. He said, the English they are teaching is at my level, the math is at my level. Anyway, cut a long story big, whatever. Anyway, make the long story short. He spent 2 years there, and he did graphic arts. And when he was graduating, a company came to hire. They hired 2 students, he was one. He's now working with a company called City Arts in Accra, and he's the one who provides his brother with money to go to school, take the bus back and from school. He's working, and his brother is not. And his brother here actually graduated from high school, he doesn't have a job, but he has. Anyway, and then the next one is Daniel Nikwe, sponsored by Mary and Harold. You asked me some time ago where he was, and I couldn't find him, but this is what happened. He also went to a vocational school, took a course in draftsmanship, got a certificate, but then he decided that's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to repair cell phones. And if you live in Africa, they are the thing, because landlines, you can't get them. You don't have the money, so everybody has a cell phone. So it's a big thing to repair them. Then I helped him. I gave him some money to go to school. He was working, and I added some money, and I didn't see him. And Mary and Harold were asking, where is he? I said, I didn't know where he was. He's left the community. Well, he came back. He's taken the course. He's now repairing cell phones in the community. He's got a job. He's working. And the next one is Bernard Chum. He did auto mechanics. He went to a vocational school. Then he continued to a polytechnic and got his master technician certificate. He doesn't have a job yet, so he just finished. So he's looking for one. Followed by a boy also called Francis Latte. He also did auto mechanics. And then he went on, he came for help. He needed a little, we gave him money, and then he went into computers. And now he's also working. He's doing free, he's not working with a particular company. He just works from place to place, but he's working, he's doing well. And then you have another one called Martin Ofoli. He's the brother of the first one who did marketing. So he followed and he did marketing. He's also working. And he's got he's doing what his brother is doing. He's doing an online degree in business administration. Okay, and then we get to Kingsley Ajay, the one I told you about, the one who did magna cum laude, University of Ghana, social work. But what he wanted to do was accounting. And accounting is a professional degree. You know that it costs a lot of money. So I came back, looked for money, and helped him to do 2 years of the accounting degree. And then he couldn't find a job. He graduated. He did very well. But in Ghana and in a lot of these places, you have to know somebody who knows someone who knows somebody else to get you in. So we gave him a chance a year to look for a job. He couldn't get one. So one day I took off. And I checked online and found a KPMG, an accounting firm. I called and I asked for an appointment. And they said you should. I was really surprised. I called on a Wednesday, Thursday, they said, come. This is Ghana? So I went there. I had this student's, CV with me. I took it in, and I said to the guy, I didn't come here to look for money. I would like you to hire. I told him about what we do, and I said, I'd like to hire this student. He looked at the CV and said, that's quite impressive. And then he found out that I teach. And he said, okay, if I hire him, you would also have to come and teach some of my employees how to, polish up their English for them. But he said to me, he has to do these exams. If he doesn't pass, I wouldn't hire him. And I said, even if he doesn't pass, I'll still come and teach for you. Anyway, this kid did very well. And right now, he's working for them, and they are sponsoring him to do his accounting. So he's done the 3rd year, and he's very bright. And I went there, I taught there, and they were impressed. They kept, look at the kind of student that you've given us. I knew he would do it. Anyway, so, then the next person is, so now we're going to get to, he's there, where is he? this is Nicholas, it says number 8, but this is graduate number 9, okay? All the boys, all the ones I've given you are boys, graduate number 9. Now he went to Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and he took a degree in integrated rural art and industry. You know, they make shoes and bags and things, and that's what he's doing right now. He graduated, he and what do you call it, a partner now have a little business where they're doing that. So what I'm trying to tell you is, these kids are all working, the ones who can. You know, they're all working, they're doing very well, and they're going on to do better things. They can see more opportunities ahead for them. Okay, so these are the 9 boys, but I'll tell you a little bit about other boys in there. There's a student called Henry Ajay, who is a brother to Kingsley Ajay, the social worker. They are both brilliant. This boy is in petroleum engineering, and he'll be graduating next year, June. And he said to me, I'm going to get the same marks that my brother did. These are poor. Their mother sells like porridge cake. She can never afford to send these kids to school. But because of the group here, Comfort Stars, the Rotarians from here and from other clubs, they can also compete. They are doing very well. And they've proven that just because they are poor doesn't mean that they do not have what it takes to do the work, and they are. And then, actually, I've given you 9 boys who have graduated. He's going to be graduating in June of next year. He's the only one who's doing science amongst the boys. You have to see the girls anyway. He's the only one doing science, and his brother, well, the brother is in math. If you want to add that to it, that's fine. Then there are 2 more who are waiting. We encourage our students, after they've done senior high school, to take a year off and work so that they can help. Because what we do is we give them an amount of money when they get to high school, and when they get into tertiary institution, this pays your fees, buys you books, you have to take care of your accommodation. So they have to work. So we've got 2 students now, they're boys, who are working, and they're waiting to enter in 2016.
Alice?
Yes?
Tertiary, is it university?
University and polytechnic.
Yeah, okay.
Tertiary.
It's after high school.
Yes, it's after
Okay,
high school.
right.
And the boys that I gave you, 2 of them, only 3 went through university. The others are either vocational school or polytechnic. Okay. Now, girls who have graduated, there were some girls among them. There's Rose Nabil, sponsored by Mary and Harold. They have 3 students. And she went through high school, she took catering courses there. So she came out and she came to me and she said, I want to specialize in cake decoration. So we found money for her, and then Harold and Mary bought an oven for her. So she now has her own business, little bakery at home, and she's the breadwinner of her family. And she's not pregnant yet. That's very important when I say it, because that's what most of the children in the area do, the girls. They finish high school, they don't complete, they're pregnant. I'm telling you about the good stories, but I'll come back in 3 years' time to tell you about the problems that we've had too. I've just put together the good things. That's what I'm telling you. Anyway, so Rose Nabil is now working. And then there is another girl, Mary Togo, who's also catering, and Theodora Yemo, who's catering. The second girl, she has started her own business, and the third girl, she works for a 4-star, restaurant, no, hotel in Ghana. Okay, so these are graduates. The 2 boys I mentioned over there, they are not graduates. They're waiting to enter. We also have 2 girls who finished high school. It's not everybody who wants to go to a tertiary institution. These 2 girls finished high school, and they told us, we tell them, you have to work for a year after that before you can go. And these 2 girls found out that they were making money. They liked it. So they are sales girls right now. They like to stay that way. But they graduated from high school. That's the most important thing. Okay. Now, the students that we have now, most of the ones we have are girls. And they're doing extremely well. We took them all out of it. I wasn't raising that much money when we started. So the students that I told you about before, the boys who have graduated, all of them were in the public school system. And I don't want to say the public school system, look, they are not accountable. Anything goes. Okay, so we pulled all of our elementary school kids out of the public school system and put them in a private school. And with what we were giving them, because I was teaching them how to read and write and all of that, they're going to school but they couldn't do these things. So teaching them how to do it, we got some from when they were in grade 2 all the way up to where they are right now. And you have to hear, there's Udell Lai, who's also being sponsored by Mary and Harold. She's at the University of Ghana. She's in 3rd year political science and history. She wants to do law. And the grade point average is 3.1. She's doing very, very, very well. And she will get to law school. I'll tell you more about her later. Okay, and then you have another girl called Priscilla Odore, who's also in the University of Ghana. You see, maybe when I talk about these girls being in university, boys being, you might think, oh well, so we do it here. But you do not know where they are from. They're staying in rooms with 10 people sleeping in a room. This is poverty, real poverty. But we gave them the chance, they took it, and here they are. She wants to be in the army, and she's doing psychology. She wants to counsel. She will be a counselor in the army. She's in 3rd year. Next year will be her 4th year. So, and then there's another girl. Okay. So I talked about this boy who's what do you call it? She and her friend founded a company and they're working. This is Anne-Marie Ayerson, our first girl in science. She's doing she's in natural resource. She's majoring in natural resource management at the University of Kwame Nkrumah Science and Technology. She's in 2nd year. And then you have Eunice Quay, sponsored by Bob. And you know, we have 3 girls who graduated from senior high school. They wanted to do nursing, but they had no idea how to get in there because they don't have guidance counselors in the schools. So we took them in, brought them into our house, went on the computer, looked for places where they can go, and they went. So it took them 2 years. They worked for 2 years. And I told the sponsors about it. Usually it's only 1 year. Your student is working for a year. They still continue to sponsor. I told Bob about it. He still continued to sponsor her. And in the fall, I wrote Bob and told him that she's now in a nursing school. So she's got in. There are 3 of them. 2 got in. The other one went to a plan B. So that's the other girl who got in is called Louisa. So she's in nursing school. Then there's Patience Mensa, who was with them, but she didn't do that well in math, so they didn't take her. She went into institutional management at a polytechnic. Okay. Then we have this girl's sister, Wendy, who has also graduated, but she's waiting to enter, so she's working. And there's a sister to the girl that Harold and Mary were sponsoring. She's also finished, and she's waiting to enter. She's working. Okay, so now, our high school students. Okay. This is Janet Mata, sponsored by Sylvia. She's brilliant. She's in high school, and we encourage our girls, our students, to go into the sciences because everybody's going into arts. She hopefully wants to go to medical school. That's something I'll tell to you about later. But she's good. I brought her to the house. And she told me, I asked her, what do you want to do? And she said, nursing. And I said, nursing is okay. And I don't want you to go out and tell your friends that they called me Auntie Alice. Auntie Alice said that you shouldn't do nursing. But I said to her, I look at you and you can do more than nursing. So we went on the internet. We went to some of the universities in Ghana. We talked about courses that she can take. And she was quite excited. So when I go back, she's finishing this year. she's going to work for a year, and through that we'll be looking at other courses that she can get into. So we'll talk about her later on too. And then there's we got a student called Rita Ado, who's also in senior high school, is a girl. These are all kids who wouldn't have gone to high school if they hadn't gone through our literacy program. Each time I went to Ghana for 12 weeks, I taught the children how to read. And the committed ones, the ones who came regularly, are the ones who got the scholarships, the sponsorships. And so they're doing very well. Another girl is called Emanuela. She is also in there. And another one, Miriam Akuete. We're coming to that because Miriam, it's funny, Miriam is sponsoring a brother. And then there's Rabiatu, her name is Rabiatu Lockman. And she's sponsored by Miriam. That's another brilliant student. There are about 4 of them together. We talk about them because they can go on and do better things, you know, but it requires money. So anyway, and then there's another girl called Esther. All these girls, and what happened was, when you complete, our elementary school goes up to grade 9 in intermediate, and then you write exams. If you qualify, you do well, you go to senior high school. If not, well then, either you go to a vocational school or you just go away, okay? So, and the highest mark you can get in a subject is 1. So what they do is they put 6 of your subjects together, English, math, and science being compulsory, and then 3 others, and then you aggregate. Now, this year, the 2 girls, the Rabiatu, had an aggregate 8. And so, and she's an avid reader, a bright student, and another person got 12, and then the others got 15, but these kids wouldn't have gotten these grades if they hadn't learned how to read and to comprehend through our program. Okay, now, so this is Janet. Now, it's taking place in my backyard because I brought the literacy program to my house. This is Henry, the one that I told you is graduating from the University with a degree in petroleum engineering. He came back and he said to me, I would like to tutor our students in math because he's very good. So before these girls, this is Rabiatu sitting there, the girl in the middle, plus another girl, and they were going to write their exams, and this particular girl was not too sure of herself, you know, girls and math. Anyway, so he came and he did it. And the girls did very well. You know, and we wanted the students you give back to your community, and that's what he came and we did for them. Anyway, Udell Lai, who wants to go into law school, and Janet Mate, these kids, and Radiatu, they are very smart and very brilliant. So we are trying, what I'm trying to do now, to put some money aside, because going to medical school or medical laboratory science or whatever she wants to do, and law, it's expensive. So I'm going to put some money aside and try, you know, put in some there so we can help them to go through. Anyway, there's a boy amongst these people that I just talked to, the brilliant ones. His name is Jefta, and he's being sponsored by Miriam. He's also very, very bright. But he's in grade 7, so there is still time for him to get there and for us to help him. Okay, and then, so that's the students. I taught. What I did was I taught children most of the time. But I'm not doing that anymore. I've only got 1 class left of 3 students that come to my house when I go to teach them and polish up their reading and writing. But now I'm working with training the trainers. These are librarians. I met a lady called Kathy Knowles, and she has libraries all over Accra. where you have a cluster of schools. And these children, when the school is over, they can't study at home. So they come to the libraries. It's a learning center to do their homework. And Penny Diaconi, another colleague of mine who works with Kathy's Libraries in Ghana, said to me, Alice, you need to train these teachers, these librarians, how to teach reading so they can work with these kids. Because they come there in droves after school. And I went there to observe them. They will come and they'll pick up a book. And then they put the book, they look at it for a while and put it down. So I said to Kathy, oh my goodness, your students who are coming in here can read. And she said, oh no, they are just looking at the pictures. They can't read, they don't know how to. So she said, so Penny asked me, why don't you train these librarians? So I decided to do that. So I organized a workshop for them. And they came. The first day, she wanted 17 of her librarians to come, but 9 showed up because they didn't actually know what it's all about. The second day, all 17 showed up because they learned how to teach reading. And they said to me, you have to give us certificates because this is unbelievable. We can now teach people how to teach. So Kathy, of course, he lives here, but she comes down to Ghana. And she wasn't there, so I was communicating with her. She said, oh, give them the certificates. That's what they want, give it them. So the certificates, they were just happy. Sitting there, it took 8 weeks. And you know, my sister is the president of the club, so I invited her to come and make the presentations. And when she heard them read, of course, all of them are finished senior high school and they can read. But when they read stories to the children, there's no expression in it. So when she heard them expressing themselves, voices rising, she said, what did you do to them? Because people in Ghana don't speak like that, they don't do things like that. So then the ladies asked me, and they wanted, there's one lady, there are 2 men. So next year, they wanted me to come and do part 2. So next year, I'll do part 2 for them. And this one is not a comfort style thing. We don't put money in it. I tell them my services, but you will have to provide my transportation. You have to pay for the photocopying, and they did. So next year, I'll be teaching them. Okay? And then I have to keep my word to KPMG, the company that hired the boys. You see how enthusiastic the trainers were? These guys, I mean, they're graduates. They have BAs and they have this and they have that. So for the boss to say that your English is not good and you have to go polish it, they were not too keen. They gave me 15. Count them, 1, 2, 3, there were 8 who came for the 4 weeks, you know. But at the end, everybody heard about it. And so the next group is going to be a big one. But if you had a chance to come to the first one, you didn't come, you're not coming to the second. So, and of course, KPMG is a big company. They're going to make a donation. But they want me to finish the second part. And then, so they're going to donate to Comfort Stars. The other guys, I didn't charge them. They didn't have to pay for anything because she's an NGO. You know, but she paid for my transportation and all of that. Anyway, the last person I'm going to talk to you about is she wasn't sponsored by Comfort Stars. But last year when I came to speak to you, I stayed with Lillian and Peter. This is their student. They sponsored this girl. She's blind. Okay, they sponsored her to go to university. She got a job, but she was having difficulty. You know, there's a stigma to blindness. You know, people at home feel there's something about you anyway. She got a job, but they wouldn't give her something to do. She goes every day and she sits there. She goes every day and she sits there and she's hungry. They won't fire her, but they want her to quit on her own. And she wouldn't do that. So anyway, Lillian and Peter asked me to look her up, you know. So I called my sister and I went to see her. And she told us a story. We told her, look, you go there, don't quit. Every morning go there, take a newspaper or something and read. They don't give you work, that's fine. Because they're not willing to fire, but they want her to do it on her own. So, and she said she was waiting for her equipment, you know, the blind, she got it. they still won't give her a job. I mean, they still won't give her things. So she goes there, and she has, what do you call it? She's taking courses to law degree. She's, studying to do for a law degree. So I said to her, well, then take your books and things there and sit there and study. And they are not questioning her, but they are not giving her work to do. So that's what she's doing right now. She goes there, she does her work, and she goes home. But it's Lillian and Peter who helped her to get to where she is. Anyway, so that's the end of my presentation. What I didn't tell you about though is it costs a lot at the elementary level. And right now we've only got 4 students left at the elementary level. So we can save some money now, towards the work that these others, hopefully we can send them to the schools that they want to go to. And they are not, none of the boys have impregnated anybody that we know of. None of our girls have gotten pregnant. It is so important, honestly. No, don't, look, if you're in Africa, you look at things differently. So if I say things like that, they haven't done it. They are empowered. They can see things that what they can become. There's more. And so, thank you so much, because if it weren't for the monies, the donations that the clubs and the members are giving us, this wouldn't happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alice, for the great presentation. It's inspiring for every one of us hearing those students how they were successful, and it's actually amazing. So thank you so much for that. One more thing is we do donate a book to a library. So if you don't mind, sign this.
Yeah. And just one more word. I did say that I'm not going to come back next year. I'll come back in 2018. By that time, all these kids, the girls would have gone through. Some will be in university and everything. And I'll get more to tell you who's in law school and who's in medical school and who is where, because they're going to be there. They're going to go. So thank you.